This is Warfactory, guys. I got into this is a closed alpha playtest, but I'm allowed to do videos and content on it. It's a game I've been looking forward to after reading what you do. It's essentially a satisfactory factorial kind of setup, kind of a very scaled down one. But what you do is the essence of the game is you create robots to fight for domination of a planet, and you make them by setting up a series of refineries and conveyor belts to make up all the components required to build your robots. And that whole concept sounds fantastic. Unfortunately, it's a bit disappointing. In fact, it was very disappointing. It's not what I expected. Well, I'll start with the building side of things. You have 3 resources on the map, and you have to build concrete, and everything requires concrete pretty much. So you have these little drones that go to the concrete factory. They take it to the site of where you're building, say, an iron ore factory. So you build the iron ore on an iron ore node, and that'll produce bars of iron. You might need these crystals as well to go with whatever else you need for that building, so you build on the blue things. On top of that, you have lots of ways to process that to create robot factories and weapon factories and things like that. Now, I would have much preferred the standard way of doing this, where you could have all of them buildings, yes, but then you have a store depot. So you could kind of have your armaments, like your melee weapons or your lasers being built, and then conveyed over to a storage area. And you could have legs built and put on a storage area. And then you just have like a conveyor from your storage area to your factory, and off you go building things. But you can't do that. In this, everything has to connect, and you have very limited room to do it. So it becomes a pain in the frustrating arsehole sometimes, depending on the size of your map where you're starting. I just didn't like that whole process. I'm so used to storerooms in these kind of games. I don't know why the dev hasn't gone with that idea. It's a way better idea than this one. But anyway, on to the actual combat after that. There's a little kind of timer going off at the top right corner. Tells you when you're going to get attacked, and it was, quite precise to the second. I don't kind of like that idea. I don't want to know when I'm going to get attacked. I'm not sure why that's there. That needs scrapping, in my opinion. It should be random when you get attacked, after a certain cooldown, of course, so you can get some kind of defenses up. But the biggest gripe is the attack. The enemies don't attack any of your buildings. The game kind of ends when the combat, you just kind of switch off at you just think, oh my goodness, this is awful. At the combat side of things, it's just, you can tell that he's not up to that bit yet, or she, whoever's developing this. It's kind of like, just, that's what's going to happen, but just pay no attention to what's actually happening, because it's rancid. You guys just run around all over the place. They don't really engage very well when they're fighting the enemy units. And the enemy units do sweet Fanny Adams, to be honest with you. They don't attack any of your buildings, like I said, so there's no danger. I don't even know what would happen if you just kind of didn't bother building any defenses. I didn't bother doing that, but the game as a concept is excellent. I'd give this a 9 out of 10 for the concept, absolutely. I think if this is executed right, it could be an excellent, excellent game, because it takes the whole RTS thing and just expands on it a bit. Whereas, you would just build a factory in a standard RTX for tanks, a unit factory for your soldiers, and that's it. Whereas in this one, you have to build that, but you have to build all the resource chain behind that. And I love that idea. Yeah, it could be a great game. I mean, it's alpha. This is an alpha playtest. But one to keep an eye on, and I will come back to this in 2026. It needs a good year in the oven, I think. So there you go, guys. We'll keep an eye on it.